to learn. Why trade school is, to me, a lot more valuable than college. So we're going to talk about not just apprenticeships or trades or anything like that, but plumbing, electrical, HVAC, roofing, any of the trades. You can actually get paid to learn. And as you see, I've got a special guest in here today, Mr. David Butler. How are you, sir?
Doing great.
So
nice
David,
to be here.
David, take a second. Just tell everybody who you are, what you do, where you work, all that fun stuff.
I'm a responsible master plumber for Milestone. I'm also their senior plumbing manager. I sold my company to Milestone 8.5 years ago and started their plumbing division. I now have come in a position where I'm the chief trainer for Milestone. Of course, I operate, make sure we, quality control wise, we do everything up to code and to the best plumbing install you can do. That's my primary job there now. Is that and being senior manager and trainer for Milestone.
You know, look, training is so important in the trades. And this is something that if y'all have heard me talk before, you've heard me at all, I talk about never stop learning. Now, those of y'all that are new here, man, welcome to the show. Glad to have you here. Please hang around. If you clicked on this and it's a live stream and you were looking for something else, man, check this out. We talk about a lot of good stuff in here. It's not just me. I've got some great plumbers and other people in the community. If you've got a question today, please put a Q in front of it. That way I will make sure to get it. We'll start going through comments here in a little bit and talking about that. But what we're really going to talk about trade school, and I say trade school, you don't have to go to trade school. Y'all are an open shop company. Y'all don't put people through trade school or anything like that. You do training in-house.
Absolutely. You get paid while you learn.
And that's the thing about plumbing when I got started, and I know when David got started, you know, it blew our mind that, wait, you're hiring me to work at a plumbing company. I don't know anything about plumbing, but you're going to pay me to learn about it. Isn't it crazy how that works?
Absolutely. Yep.
Man, they ought to think about doing medical school or, you know, maybe attorneys or something like that way. You know, let me pay you while you come in and learn. Okay, probably not going to happen. But the good thing about plumbing is you can learn to be productive. And I say plumbing, HVAC, electrical, roofing, any of the above. And those are really the four I talk about because those are probably the four biggest ones. 3 of them in most states require a professional license, plumbing, electrical, and HVAC. At least they do here in Texas. Right. We've got the Texas State Board of Plumbing Examiners for plumbers. We've got that other thing for electrical and HVAC. Now we've got TDLR, the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation. And look, the former executive director, Brian Francis, one of the greatest guys I've ever met. So I'm joking when I say that. But you can literally go to work at a plumbing company down the road from you, get hired, start getting paid, make money, and start learning pretty much today.
Absolutely.
That's how I did it. That's how you did it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a lot of people that they go through the union training program, and it's neat because there's a lot of good unions out there. I worked at the UA, the United Association of Plumbers, Pipe Fitters, and Steam Fitters. There's the IBEW, which is the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. There's got the Sheet Metal Workers Union. I don't ever remember the name of it. Another good one, though, is the Elevators and Operators, Installers, and Repair, whatever union that is. And, man, that's a phenomenal union. And it's neat because I've got a couple of their guys scheduled to come in to be on the podcast and jump in here. So getting in the trades, number one, has there ever been a better time?
No, we need more people in the trades now than we've ever needed. We're so shorthanded. We need young people. Most of the people in the trades are older. Absolutely.
We resemble that remark.
Yeah, and you're never going to be without a job if you know a good trade.
Yeah, you know, and not just without a job, you can move anywhere you want to move.
Yep.
I mean, excuse me, but I think water still flows downhill even in New York.
I think so.
I mean, I know between New York and
yeah.
California, they do a lot of things different, but I believe that water still runs downhill.
Yeah, absolutely.
So pretty crazy, but it's a possibility. But here's the thing. Trade school to me does beat college. And I'm going over next week to discuss this with some people, actually a couple of places next week to discuss this with people. So it's really good that we're talking about this right now because And even you know, when you were growing up, your parents, your mom wanted you to be a doctor.
Absolutely.
And it sounded amazing, didn't it?
That's what I wanted to be growing up. Well, some of my guys still call me Dr. Butler because I started in pre-med and went through that before I actually turned over to plumbing.
Now, and your parents probably didn't. Were you ever told, or had you ever heard the phrase, if you don't go to college, you're never going to amount to anything?
When I got married right out of high school and didn't go to college, I had so many teachers. The one thing about it, my parents supported me that I didn't go to college. It wasn't like the end of the world, but I had teachers and other people going, "You're crazy if you don't go to college."
Well, you were smart. You graduated near the top of your class.
I did.
If you turned my class over, I would have graduated near the top of the class. You know, I went to school to pass. I went to school to graduate. That's all I went to school for. There were girls there and there was football there. I don't know what else I went for. I mean, that was it.
But I didn't have any worries about that. I wasn't, I like a trade, didn't bother me. I wasn't, it's a social hang up sometimes. And we've been taught so long, you got to go to college. You got to go to college. And it's starting to turn back.
It's finally, I love it. I'm going to jump into the comments real quick. But first of all, look, if this is your first time here, man, jump in, enjoy it. If you've got questions, put a Q in there, ask a question. If you ended up on this channel and it's not what you're looking for, you were actually searching how to stop an emergency flood of water or running toilet right now, go to the microscope or go to the magnifying glass up there, click on it, search what you're looking for, and I hope you find it. Those of y'all that have been here before, welcome back. It's so good to have y'all here. I love that we get to do this on Saturdays. I didn't open up the safe today. This is normally called Sipping Saturdays. The big gun safe out there is full of tequila and bourbon.
Oh man, I missed that one.
There may be a couple of guns in it. No, there are. Trust me. But we relocated here, so we're trying to build the shop down in the barn. We've got a lot of things we're going to do. That way we can get the grills fired back up, get out there and cook and smoke and open the safe and sip on Saturdays. So I'm going to jump into the comments real quick, but welcome back. If you've been here before, I appreciate having you here. Tim Powell says, we need a balance in the market. The reason trade school jobs are high paying now is because there's not a lot of people in those jobs. They were steered to college, creating a blue collar deficit. And Tim, I believe you're 100% right. But I want to say something to your comments is the reason trade school jobs are high paying now. Well, look, I got in the union in 97. I started plumbing in 1980, but in the trades, I made over $100,000 a year from probably 1999 and up. Maybe even a little bit before that, and some years a lot more than that. So trades jobs have always paid well. The thing I love most about trades jobs as a tradesperson, I decide how much money I make.
Exactly.
I mean, don't get me wrong. If I work for your company, you can say, well, here's how much we pay. Now I can choose to work more and make more and do more and yada, yada, yada. Or I can say, hey, I'm going to work for a commercial company during the day, open a residential company at night and run that. If I do things legally, which I did, I had my RMP, had everything registered. I was pulling permits. I was doing it right. You can make as much money as you want to make. And I feel like it's pretty much always been that way.
I think so too. Like you said, there were years that I made less and more, but as I had my own company for 31 years, you're in charge of your own destiny.
Every day.
It's not like if you get a college degree and you're working in a professional job, you're limited. With the trades, I had several friends and everyone went right on to college, got business degrees, got everything. Almost none of them were working in the field that they got the degree in. They were struggling, trying to find a job, couldn't find a job in their field. While I went right into plumbing, started doing it in the trades and was making money right away, and had the pathway to go wherever I wanted to go based on me.
I love that. And here's the thing that I know of 1, 2, 3, about, I'm going to say three plumbers that graduated in my class, Garland High School. Mm-hmm. We both went to Garland High School. he may have graduated a little bit before me, but you know,
I'm a little older than Roger. I say that.
I'm a man, but you don't look it. I'm looking at you like, man, you're doing good. That's why I had to point it out and say, hey, look, older and wiser. That's the way I'm looking at this. But I know of 3 plumbers that graduated in our class. Most of those plumbers made good money, good livings, great livings.
Absolutely.
Trades, there's nothing wrong with the trades, y'all. And we're going to talk more about it. Let me jump back in the comments. Charlotte in England says, happy Saturday, everyone. Squirt, also, sorry about that. Good morning, crew. Happy Saturday to y'all. Charlie England from Local 32. Charlie, tell me where Local 32 is. And you may have over here, you may have jumped back in there and said it. Man, I've dealt with a lot of the locals. I just don't have all the locations memorized. So tell me where you're at. Love to hear it and what you're doing. I know we were up over 50 just a minute ago, and if I look together, we're probably okay. Those of y'all that are in here, do me a favor. Tell me where you're located and what you do. If you're like Charlie, you're in Local 32, but Local 32, where it is, and, you know, plumber, pipe fitter, welder, massage therapist, it don't matter to me. Jerry Calamita says, good morning. How are you today? Good to see you. Aspiring plumber. Man, I love to hear that.
Absolutely.
I mean, you know, and I had Gus in here a few weeks back. So I'm going to tell y'all a secret about if you want to go to work at Milestone, how to make more money. Okay, I'm going to tell y'all this. Matter of fact, I'm not going to tell you. Go back and watch the live stream I did with Gus, because he talks about something that I do not agree with. It's about what you wear. I mean, I would go in dressed like a plumber. But Gus says something. He says, if somebody does this, I'm paying them $2 an hour more. And I'm like, whoa. Now, you're probably going to tell me, well, Gus doesn't even do interviews anymore, so that's not happening. But there's something that he said that really blew my mind. And I discussed it with somebody yesterday. And she's like, you know what? I like that mindset. I want to talk about that. So I love the fact you're an aspiring plumber. I love that you ended up here and you're watching and seeing and learning. You get to talk to other plumbers. So, man, this is a good spot to be. Those of y'all that are aspiring to be plumbers, if you hadn't subscribed yet, subscribe, hit the bell, ring the button, the whole 9 yards. That way, when I put up new videos, you see them. Here we go. Benji Cook says, cheers from Belize. Man.
Long way off.
I want to be a plumber in Belize and work 2 or 3 hours a day, maybe. Henry Wakefield says, it's Charlie, and where's Local 32? See, what kind of local is it? Daniel Marks, is there an age limit? The LU will hire you. If you mean local union, no. And I say no. If somebody comes in to apply for a job as an apprentice plumber, they're green, they don't know anything. They're 40 years old. Does that bother you?
We've got several right now that I'm training that are over 40.
I love it.
That have changed professions. Some of the best plumbers I've ever had were in their 30s and 40s that decided to change professions. They said, I'm tired of fighting this system. I want to learn a trade and feel more stable.
I love that. I love that. Daniel, I will tell you, in the union, if you're put in the union, I had an apprentice whenever I was an instructor who was 55 years old. And, man, he wanted to learn. So I think that the only one who can decide if you're too old is you. And, you know, me and David talk, we can't always do everything that we used to do before. Well, we probably could once, but we're going to hurt. So, you know, you're the one. So you decide. Chris Shreves, brother, how are you doing? Good to see you in here again. Says, good morning. Great day in Arizona today. And Charlie England says, the UA Local 32 Plumbers and HVAC out of Seattle. Oh, wow. Love that. I've got a friend up there. He's not union, but PHCC is real big up there. And he's really involved with PHCC. And I think the PHCC and union are starting to talk up there about how they can work together and do things. And to me, I love that. Yeah, got that. Gariwana, how are you? Good to see you in here. Jared Calamita says, that's how I'm getting in. I dropped a resume off a few weeks ago, start in May. Very excited, and you've helped me what I need to know before I start. Guys, Look, there's a million plumbing videos out there. I think I made half of them. But here's look, we all do things different. There's a lot of other good plumbers on here that I get in sometimes and see what they're doing and what they're talking about. So I love that, Jared, you're getting in, you're learning. To me, if somebody comes in, are you part of the hiring process?
I am. I interview some people. I don't interview everyone, but oftentimes I'm in on the interviews of them.
If somebody comes in and says, look, man, I've been studying plumbing and this is really what I want to do. They're not just walking in green saying, hey, look, I just want a job. Don't know what I want to be when I grow up or whatever. The fact that somebody's willing to learn and study on their own before they ever walk in, do you see that and say, man, that's good?
Absolutely. One of the first questions I ask in an interview is, what made you choose plumbing? Especially when we do electrical and HVAC. We're like, okay, we've got these other trades. Why did you choose plumbing?
If they ever tell you because they saw Roger Wakefield and he said they could do it, you need
we
to say,
hire him right away.
You're
Right?
hired. You're hired. Yeah. If he's been watching Roger, we know he's hired. No, it's good though because I love the mindset. You know, the guy that put in here a while ago, aspiring plumber. Man, I love hearing that. It's like, look, this is what I want to be.
Absolutely.
And man, that is so good.
You know, one thing you just said a minute ago, the guy was asking about age. And it does some come play into a factor, but I think the licensing, you can get an apprentice card at 16.
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, you have to have the apprentice card that's when your hours start for your licensing. So 16 I started at 16, and a lot of guys start at 16. So it's okay to start that early.
We didn't have to have an apprentice card when we
did we didn't. There wasn't such a thing.
We just went in. Matter of fact, when I went in and applied for a job, I think I had to tell them I was 17 to get the job. But they didn't really check, so it wasn't no big deal. Talking about ages of apprentice, what is the oldest apprentice you know of in Texas?
Shoot, I don't know in Texas. I can tell you the oldest one I've got. I think is 47.
Okay,
but I don't know in Texas.
Back whenever I was going down and hanging out once a year with Lisa for the continuing ed providers, continuing ed, there was an apprentice in Texas at the time. I believe it was 83 years old.
Oh man,
an apprentice, 83 years old. So guys, look. Don't let anybody tell you can't do anything. I'm telling you. Shedrake, man, I'm going to stop right there. Paula, how are you? Good. Hope you're doing well. I'm a plumber, but in Nigeria, where it's not apprenticed or not appreciated. You know, and man, I hate to hear that because to me, plumbers protect the health of the nation. And if you'll do that research and learn that story and learn that conversation to have with people, you can make it be appreciated. And, you know, I remember a person in Texas named Chris Patty was trying to take the plumbing license away. And people came to me and said, look, he's taking it away. It's happening. We know it. It's happening whatever date. Roger, what are you going to do? Are you going to lower your prices to compete or what are you going to do? I said, dude, I'm raising my prices. And they said, what do you mean? You can't raise your prices. Everybody's a plumber. I said, yeah, but I'm not everybody. And I'm not competing with them. I don't want to compete with them. I don't want to compare to them. I'm going to be able to say, hey, look, we are real plumbers. And, you know, when I see stuff like that where it's not appreciated, you can control the narrative. You can make videos. You can put out ads. You can make it where it's appreciated. You've got to learn to sell the value in what you do. What do you think?
Absolutely. That is the thing, is that if it was to take our licensing away or change our licensing to lessen it, there's still people out there that believe in value. Mm-hmm. Lots of people.
They drive Mercedes and BMWs, and not all of them. But I mean, think about it. They could be driving a Hyundai.
Absolutely. I mean, you can live in a mansion or you can live in the smallest house there is and still live off of value. And, you know, you mentioned that about Nigeria, and I know plumbing over there is so critical right now. We've actually done, from Milestone, we've gone over to Nigeria, not Nigeria, but Liberia, and for clean water, because you said they protect the health of a nation.
Absolutely.
One of the biggest problem probably in Africa is clean water.
You bet.
And they need plumbers more than anybody over there. So hopefully you can change that in Nigeria.
Well, and I started checking into a company here in the United States called Dig Deep. And, you know, when you go and look at their website, because I love causes like that, there are 6 places in the United States that don't even have clean water. And people live in there. And it's like, hey, we're in the United States. Why can't we get water? And it's like, man, come on. Garawana says, I take my test later this month. Good for
Awesome.
you. Daniel Marks, when I was working through my apprenticeship, they brought in a new 60-year-old apprentice. So I don't think there's really a limit. Absolutely. Good morning from Kenya. So Maganiza Dennis, I hope that you're doing well, and I'm sure I pronounced that all wrong. Daniel Mark says, I'm 26, trying to get in the Plumbers UA12. My interview is next Wednesday. Daniel, where is Local 12? Just because I love to ask. I remember 32 is a Seattle, so see, I do try to learn. Daniel, put in here, what have they told you to expect on the interview? Just because I'm curious. I know that when I was involved with the local here, whenever they'd bring in apprentices to interview, they'd have like 6 people there to ask them questions. And I know that can be intimidating, but it's also, you want to be able to get in and convey why you're getting in the trades, why you want to, what you want out of it. There you go. Good luck, Daniel. Boston is such a union city. Oh, so there we go. I was going to say, I know where 12 is. Yeah, Local 12. Look, I've got friends up there. I actually got to go. Here's what's neat about you being in Boston. Did you know there's a plumbers museum?
I did not.
It is in Boston, or just outside of Boston. I actually got to go speak at it one time to the local. It was the first annual Plumbers Council meeting. Pretty cool.
Well, I tell you, I traveled in Boston, and every single place you walk into is a plumbing museum in Boston, as old as those buildings are.
Oh, this place
It's amazing.
It's the real plumbing museum, and I mean, you can look it up. They had wood pipe there. They had pictures. I mean, it was so cool.
The buildings
Totally
are so
enjoyed
old
that.
up there. It's unreal.
Boston Plumbers and Gas Fitters. Yep. As soon as I said it, I knew it was neat because whenever I did go up there to speak, I had mentioned to Mr. Murphy, who was the business agent or manager at the time, said, hey, man, look, I'm from Texas. I'm in town. Oh, by the way, the Rangers are playing the Red Sox. Do you think it'd be possible to get tickets? He's like, yeah, do you want to go tonight or tomorrow night? I'm like, it doesn't
That's
matter.
so cool.
He said, I can get you tickets to both nights. They get us tickets, and we put on our Rangers jerseys, and we walk back down in the bar where all the union is before we're headed out. And they're like, I don't know if I'd wear that if I were you. It's like, why not? Like, this is the Red Sox, guys. They're not going to like you. Man, they were so nice to us. And Joey kept saying, why are they nice to us? It's like, because we're the Rangers. They know that we're never going to win. We may beat them tonight, but at the end of the year, guess who's going to the playoffs? It ain't going to be the Rangers. They know this. So they were really nice. And even the people behind us, they were like, oh my gosh, from Texas, good to have y'all here. And we were like, man, they told us before we left the hotel not to wear our jerseys, that we'd end up fighting. I said, no, but if you was from New York, then it's like, oh, there you go. There you go. So pretty cool stuff. Yes, and Daniel Marks, good luck. I did CTI plumbing and the Shaba Tech last summer. Was a great program. Okay, man, I'm not CTI plumbing. I'm not sure what that is. Look, I love that people are going to school. I love that they're going to tech school. And, I need to reach out to Jimmy Bibb and get him on here. He's the plumbing director down at Texas State Technical College, where the Texas State Board of Plumbing Examiners has built another testing facility, which is great. So pretty cool. And see, up in Boston, I like this. I went to this school, I went to this school, I went to this school, and we were talking earlier at breakfast. There's not a lot of good plumbing schools in the Dallas area or in Texas. So very nice, guys. I'd love, man, if y'all will connect with me on LinkedIn and tell me who you are, I'd love to reach out to y'all and talk to you and say, look, how long was school? What was it like? What'd you learn? What was the curriculum? What books did they teach out of? I'd love to hear what y'all learned. It was really great. Not sure it was so great. Okay. Local 12, there you go. Isaiah Paris says, haha, I'm originally from Ashburnham, small town in the woods on the New Hampshire border. No one I went to CTI with knew where it was. So see, we got a lot of students in here. I'm liking this. Okay, and he knows it. There we go. Here we go. I am T7816 says, hey, Roger, happy Saturday from Kentucky. Glad to have you here. Welcome into the live stream. I'm replacing galvanized and polybutylene pipe today. It's that snap you feel when you didn't know about the hidden quest fitting downstream. Yeah, Yeah, go back further than that fitting and replace that too. I've look here in the Dallas area. There's still a lot of old houses that have galvanized pipe that a lot of us go in and we replace with PEX. Used to go and replace with copper. Now PEX is the go-to. So, look, you're having fun today, but I love to see stuff like this happening. 36-year-old apprentice. Yeah, look, guys, age is a number. It's a mental thing. I mean, when you get as old as us, it's more than a number. But to be honest, if I wanted a new career today and heard about plumbing and thought I could do it, I would have no problem jumping in there and saying, okay, I want to do this. You still go out on the truck every now and then.
Mm-hmm. I still take training classes out in the field. So luckily I have several guys there. I can tell them exactly how to do it. I don't have to do all the grunt work, but I do. I go out in the field with them. I did Friday. I was out there in the field with them. So it is, it's like you said, can't do everything I used to could do, but definitely out there training and teaching out in the field is a great thing.
In the words of the late, great Toby Keith, I'm not as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was.
Absolutely.
Okay, now Normalized Audio says you must go to college and learn humanities. Now, I don't know if you're talking about to be a plumber, because here in Texas, you don't have to go to college. Right now, is it even required that you have a high school diploma?
No.
They took that away.
Tradesmen and journeymen, neither one have to have a high school diploma anymore. The only time you have to is if you go get your master's, and that may eventually go away too.
Yeah, I would think that it would, because the way the laws are written, if you've had your journeyman for 4 years, you're eligible. So that'll be interesting. I think it will go away if it hadn't yet. So Normalized Audio, tell me where you're talking about where you must go to college and learn humanities. Isaiah Paris is still crazy to me. The journeyman plumbing license in Maine is only 4,000 hours, 2,000 if you do 2 semesters at a school for plumbing. I like that. Okay. I'm not one of these old school plumbers that said, hey, wait, when I got my license, it was supposed to be 6,000 hours. Then they raised it to 8,000 hours. Why would we ever want to lower it to 4,000 or 2,000? Because we need more people in the trades. I like that. In Texas, you can get a tradesman license in 4,000 hours. I've met plumbers I think could do that in 2,000.
Absolutely. There is, yes.
And, guys, here's my thing. Here's what I think. And I'm going to get on my soapbox. I think that we should find a way to lower the hours that it takes in almost every state across the country. We need more people in the trades. They want to get in the trades and make money. It needs to be lucrative to them. So my thought is, I like this. You tell me 4,000 hours, 2,000 if you do 2,000 or 2 semesters of school, you're still putting in 2 years, it sounds like. Half a year or a year of school, 2 semesters, and then a year of work. My thought is you put it back on the responsible master plumber. David, if you're going to send plumbers to take their test and you're signing off on them, you're giving me your word that you think they're ready.
That's the reason.
I think that's the way we've got to look at it.
Yeah.
They've got it set up now where hours are documented. I really don't even know why we've got to sign off anymore. Look, he's had his apprentice card for 4 years. He's got his 8,000 hours. But my thought is, if I've got a guy that I'm like, hey, Lisa, look, man, this guy's ready. He's ready. Well, Roger, he's only got 2,000 hours. Okay. I'll sign for it, that he's ready, that he's studied, that he's done it. This guy's sharp. He gets it. And I think that what we ought to do is say, okay, look, if you're a responsible master plumber and you sign off for a guy and he fails, we're going to start looking at the percentages of your failures and say, look, you're not a very good judge of who's ready. And I don't know. I think that we need to find a way to come up with something where we can shorten the cycle a little bit. So if you're a plumber in Texas, I'd love to hear your comment. Put in here and tell me how many hours you think really it should take someone or what we should set as the new standard. Because I definitely think 4,000 hours for a single family home and 8,000 hours and even 4,000 more hours for, 8,000 more hours for a journeyman. I've got my hours off. 4,000 hours for single family, 2 years. 8,000 hours for journeyman. And if you don't go through a DOL training program, another 8,000 hours to get your master's. I think that's way too long. Thoughts?
Absolutely on the masters. And again, it should come back on the responsible master plumber. The downside, of course, that is we have some responsible master plumbers that aren't so responsible.
Oh, we've got a lot of them.
Yeah. And I know guys that have 2,000 hours that are better than plumbers that have 8,000 hours. It's an individual thing. So if the master plumber was available to do that or able to do that, that would be a great new option that we could have. I hadn't really thought about it that much, but now that you bring it up, I have guys that I could definitely put in a truck sooner than what the hours allow them. And I have guys that have 6,000 hours that I'm like, you're not ready for a truck.
And I've told people that too.
Yeah.
Hey, Roger, I need you to sign off my hours. I'll sign off on them, but I'm just signing the fact that you have this many hours. You're not ready for your exam, but you know that.
So
And they're like, yeah, I know.
it's what you invest in yourself and in the time and these schools and doing that in addition to what you get on the training at the job is the key. Those guys that want to invest in themselves and watch videos, just like what Roger puts out and so many people, those help you learn and get so far ahead. A lot of the companies put them out. State Water Heaters has university water heaters class. So many of them. So
Bradford White has iTech.
Yeah.
There's so many good things. And I'm going back and I'm reading this, and my thought is, I'm an overachiever, Isaiah. Just going to let you know. I'm looking at this, and as soon as I say it, David's going to be like, "Yeah, I do the same thing." My thought is, okay, wait, 2,000 hours if you do 2 semesters of school. Okay, does that mean I can work 2,000 hours during the day and go to school at night for 2 semesters? I can knock out my plumbing license in 1 year.
yeah.
I'm an overachiever. I want it now.
And if you're going to school, you're getting to go all day long to
You bet.
learn plumbing.
You bet. You're working 40 hours a week during the day and going to school at night,
Yeah.
or Saturdays, or whenever you can go and say, I'll find a way to get my 2 semesters in and my 2,000 hours of work time. That's 1 year.
And of course, that gets you much quicker to making a lot more money for yourself.
Which is what it's all about.
Exactly.
Scott Watson says, hey, Roger Wakefield, #1 guy from One Time Plumber of Arlington, expecting my invite on the show. You're the man. Don't always expect anything from me. Scott Watson says, we'll be eligible for my master's in September. Good deal. Garawana says, unfortunately, I'm not a good test taker and not fully in the plumbing trade. I work for a fuel company mainly doing service and boiler installs. You know, here's what I'll tell you about not being a good test taker. Learn how you study. Learn how you study and retain. Some people, listen to David Goggins. Goggins says, look, I couldn't remember stuff. He says, if I had to learn something, I would have to buy spirals and write every page, every word on every page in a book. He said, that's how I learned. And he says, sometimes I've got to write it 5 or 10 times. So, different people learn different ways. We didn't have YouTube.
Oh, no.
We didn't have online where we could just look something
It's
up.
amazing what you can learn now.
If we wanted to learn something, we had to go to the library and get a book, and then we had to take that book.
And that
back
was
when
hard
we
to
were
find
done.
on plumbing.
And it was
back
hard to
then.
find
Yeah.
because there wasn't a lot of them. Absolutely. So I think you can look. I've got a video where I talk about how I teach for the tradesman exam or for the journeyman exam. I literally, and this is the way I studied now too. I literally went and took the master med gas exam and did the written in about 15 minutes, 200 questions. And when I went up, they tell you when you're done, bring your paper up here to the counter. Well, there's nobody there. So I'm standing there, got my papers in my hand, standing there waiting. And one of the instructors walks back and he comes up and says, can I help you? I said, yeah, I need to turn this in. And he looked down and he says, there's more to the test than just the first page. I said, yeah, I know. So he takes it and he looks through it and he sees, okay, he answered everything. He said, oh. He said, you didn't study, did you? I said, yeah, I studied. He's like, okay. Turns around and goes back. Well, then they call, 10 people back at a time. They're going through it and they're like, Randy Wakefield, you made a 83. David Butler, okay, you made a 92. Roger Wakefield, you made a 98. And it's like, I studied. I have every answer in my head. So there's ways to study. Look at the video that I've done about how I study for my journeyman exam. A written test should never be a problem. You've just got to learn to study the right way.
One thing I'd like to say about that too now is we license at Milestone probably more people than any other company in the state, and I've seen a higher pass rate since now it's all on computer. All of our younger people are computer oriented. They live on the computer and on games and everything
They're not
else.
used to drawing bubbles and
Exactly.
filling a bubble in.
We have a higher pass rate, and my guys love this test. It's a 3-hour test now, and most all my guys finish it in 30 to 45 minutes.
That is fantastic.
And all of them are making passing grades, and the state has said that. Then that also gives you more time when you take your practical down in Austin. They still get a full day. What used to be, so they took the written out, and they still get a full day to take the test.
I love it.
So it's less stressful than it ever was before.
Well, and I tried talking Lisa out of that. I said, look, if you really want to get caught up on the test, put the test online. Let people come in for the practical at 8 in the morning and 12 o'clock, or really 4 o'clock. You've got 8 to 12 to do your rough in, clean everything up. 1 to 5, do it again. Test twice as many plumbers.
Yeah.
And you could eliminate the whole front area where the testing quadrants used to be and add more room up there. Now you can test more people at a time. Look, you give me a day, I'll solve all the problems. Just do what we tell you to do. Let's go. It's getting better. It did. It got better for a long time. It needs work again, but we're getting there. That's why I'm going to Maine. They also have free college program too for it. Look at this.
That's awesome.
Isn't it though? I tell you what I do like, and naming schools involved with it. They're not all the way there yet, but you can incorporate in Texas, and this is something that just happened 2 years ago. They can put the plumbing training program in high school now. And what would happen, like students like David and I, our freshman year, we'd hear about it and say, hey, I want to go to plumbing. So your sophomore, junior, and senior year, you go to plumbing. The day you graduate, you're eligible to go take your tradesman exam.
Yeah, that's unreal. That's great.
I mean, I tell you what, I wish more schools would see it and get on board. I think at one point, TWC was giving away $3 million in grants for schools to get set up. And I'm like, man, what a quick way to add people to the trades. And I love it. Plus a Lot says, I have an interview next week for the Millwrights Union, Local 548. Very excited. But guys, I talk about plumbing. I'm a plumber. I'm also a certified HVAC tech. I just don't do it. Never did. I wanted the certification. So I went to a training school. I've been a superintendent in the union at that time for almost 20 years. I've put in more HVAC systems than most people in the world, but it was all commercial. But I did have experience overseeing the pipe, overseeing the installation of chillers and boilers and everything, coolant towers. So I got credit for that. So I literally sat through HVAC school for 12 days to become a certified technician. You don't want me working on your HVAC system. But I thought, look, this is the first step to getting my TACLA license, that it's your master's for HVAC work. So I wanted to do it. So look, I talk about plumbing and then HVAC and then electrical and then roofing and all that, but getting into the trades is amazing. So the fact that you've got an interview at the Millwrights Union, brother, good for you. Good luck. There you go. This is the Nightbot to let you know that we do have an app coming out, and actually you can go check it out at wakefield.app, and it talks about how to get in the trades, how to become a better tradesman, how to start your own business, and how to use networking and social media to grow that business. The only thing in my way of getting my license is passing that test. Man, look, I'm gonna tell you this. That test is up to you. Let me see. Where was I looking? I was looking for one in particular here. I'm just going to put that link up here because I had David in earlier. We shot a podcast. Y'all need to go check it out because we talk about training and education and knowledge and getting in the trades, and it's just stuff that's going to help.
That's one thing at Milestone we do is we do prep our techs for when they're getting ready to go take their plumbing tests. I train a day for them for the written. I train usually 2 days for the practical test. most of the practical doesn't take 2 days because it's stuff that you've been doing all your career. The practical test, except for everybody's fear, is of course the dollhouse. But the practical test is just what you do every day. You put pipes together and measure pipes. And that's what you do. And you don't have to study for that. It's just doing what you've always done as a plumber if you've been doing it for 2 years. So that's nothing to worry about. And the written is just study your code book.
And that's huge. And even, and I think I've got it in my other office, my UPC study guide. I think that is the greatest study guide there is.
Yep.
And that's what I teach people how to study out of. You can do the same thing with the IPC study guide, but it's passing the test should not be a hard thing. And I have people reach out to me all the time and say, I'm afraid to get into plumbing because I'm not good at math. There's not enough math to keep people out of plumbing.
No.
The math that's there is, I mean, you can learn to read a tape measure. I promise you. If you can learn to ride a bicycle without falling off, you can learn how to get to the same school every day for 4 years. You can learn plumbing. It's not hard.
No, it's just applying yourself. It's the math or anything. There's not a specific thing like that that should scare you away from being a plumber.
At all. Mark says, okay, yeah, I'll look back up at Garawana. Mark says, good morning, gentlemen. I'm in San Diego. Got into the Associated Builders and Contractors Apprenticeship, ABC, at 33. After plumbing for 2 years previously, I believe there are schools in Texas too. ABC's here, PHCC's here, CEF is here, but most of those you've either got to be part of their program. So it's almost like the union. There's plumbing schools here, but you got to be in the union to be in it. So I do know one guy who knew he wanted to start his company, smart guy. And he knew he was going to open his own company. So when he got into plumbing, he wanted to go to PHCC. So he called him, says, hey, I want to go through your training program. They said, well, you got to be a member. He says, okay, I'll sign up my company as a member just so I can go. He was an apprentice, still learning, but he wanted to go through their training program to learn how to pass the test, how to do plumbing the right way. A lot of good things. So I will tell you this. Every company is not like Milestone. Every company does not have in-house training to the extent that y'all have. Most companies don't.
Very few do. I don't know if any do.
And I always tell people when they're getting into a trade, when they're interviewing at a company, ask the company, what kind of training program do you have? What is going to make me better? And if they say, man, we're going to put you with a great plumber, that may be okay, but you know what? How many other apprentices are they telling that to? Which plumber is it that they're calling great that they're going to put you with?
Yeah.
Is he great at scamming people and selling them stuff they don't need? What's he great at? And that's what I love about a training center. Even the UA. I loved being an instructor in the UA because, I mean, it is a very controlled learning environment. You've just got to want to learn.
And we do have more schools now than we've ever had. The Texas State Technical College that Roger was talking about in Waco is awesome. The labs they have and everything. And the program that's there now can get you in a license a lot quicker.
It can. And Jimmy Bibb runs it. And I've been down there and talked to Jimmy. Actually, I went down for an advisory board meeting one day. And, man, they're wanting to do things right each and every day. And when you go into a place like that and it's set up like that, they are set up to learn. And that's the kind of thing that when you're applying for a company, you want to ask them, how am I going to learn plumbing here? And, you know, if you go into Milestone, you're going to say, well, we've got a training facility right here. What if somebody came in green today, what would their training program look like for the next 2 years?
Well, initially, you're going to be 3 weeks, 4 days a week training into that school, learning everything about how to put all different pipes together and all safety, initial trade things to learn.
OSHA type stuff.
OSHA. After that, you're going to be 1 day a week. And then the rest of the day a week, you will be, the rest of the week, you will be out in the field with different plumbers all the time learning different things. Now, granted, you're getting paid. You don't have to pay anything for our school. You're getting paid the entire time you're there. You're getting paid when you're working in the field. Of course, if you're going to some place like Texas State Technical College, there's a big expense there.
You bet.
It's an
even
investment.
Calling College has a great training center. I've been over there and talked to them and looked at their school, and it's phenomenal. And I think it's Mike Adams is doing a great job over there. But it's still, and it's the cheapest college hour you can get. I don't remember if it was the nation or Texas, but it's like $67 an hour. That's
Dirt cheap.
Dirt cheap. And you're going to basically come out, if you go, I think it's 2 years, as an associate's degree in plumbing. Not a bad deal.
No, and ready to take your tests.
Yeah. And
So-
makes it great.
It's just we're getting better, and everything's improving about it. That's one good thing about it. We do have more options than we've ever had.
And like this right here, the board guy says, we have an awesome apprentice program here in Maryland at Seaside Plumbing. So the opportunities are out there, guys. You've just got to get out and find them, look for them. And it goes back to what I teach when I'm teaching people the course about getting in the trades. You've got to know what questions to ask. Do you have a training program? If I'm interviewing with David, one of the questions I'm asking, David, how is me coming to work here going to make me a better plumber and a better person? Because I want to know those things. And if you're just going in and saying, wait, you're going to pay me this much? Okay, yeah, I'll come to work here. It may be the worst job decision you ever made in your life. Ask questions. Rofa says, what plumbing trade school would you recommend in Dallas, Texas? You know, if it's not the union, if it's not PHCC, something like that, Rafa, I would, there's a place they were in here yesterday called Forge Now. I've actually got their hard hat right up here. Forge Now has a 7-week program to get you started. It's a kickstart program. It's about $12,000, but you get uniforms, you get tools, you get trained, you get educated, and not just plumbing and soft skills. Plumbing, electrical, HVAC, and facilities maintenance. You pick which route you want to go and say, hey, this is what I want to do. But you know what? Chances are when you go to a school like that, when you come out, if I walk in and interview with a company like David and say, hey, look, I can pull and set toilets. I can install a water heater. I can repair a water heater. I can rebuild a toilet. I can change out lavatory faucets and kitchen faucets and garbage disposals. Wait, you can do all that? Yeah, okay. You're not worth $15 an hour to me or $20. Maybe now you're worth $23, $25. When you come in and say, look, I know how to do all this, it's not a bad deal. We got Naomi. How are we doing today? Says, hello, I'm an ordinary level holder. Since I dropped school for almost 7 years, I have been working with people, but I decided to learn plumbing last year. The money I make as an apprentice a week. The money I make as an apprentice week. So I guess you get paid each week. Not sure what you mean by a level holder. But guys, look, there's opportunities no matter where you're at. And what you learn to make you better is what's going to determine the value. What's going to determine what you can charge. And you know, we had the guy in here earlier saying, look, plumbing is not appreciated in Nigeria. So learn to talk about it where it is appreciated. Learn to talk about it when you're providing a service nobody else is, to where you're doing things better than other people. Roger, you're a genius. I've never been told that in my entire life. So Isaiah, not sure what I said, but please record it and share it around the world. iCast Enterprise says, got a pop-off valve leaking on a water heater less than 6 months old. It will not reset, and they don't build them like they used to. You know, normally pop-off valves, I don't have a problem with like that. Do y'all have any problems with TMP valves?
No, the biggest problem nowadays with everything is the pressures are all rising.
But we've got to do that.
Yes, absolutely. We're growing.
So
Yeah,
and you and I
it's
understand
usually
why.
something causing that problem.
Yes.
So you need to find the root of that problem is what's going on most likely.
Stick a gauge on a hose bib and see what
Yep.
the pressure looks like. Do you believe 40 to 80 PSI is where it should be?
60 to 80.
Yeah.
Oh,
40 is way too low.
Yeah, we had some, used to, we never had any issues.
Oh, no.
Everything was 65 to 70. You didn't find high pressure except in creek bottoms
Yeah.
and close to the lake. Now, I mean, I foresee every house having a PRV very shortly in the future and required on new construction. because we've bumped up all the mains because we have all these 5-story and 6-story
We've got to push
apartments
this
and
water way out
a
there.
long way and a lot more through it.
And to get it out there at 80 PSI, it's going to have to be 100 to 120 to push out that far.
So that's creating a lot of huge problems for
Yes.
people. It's giving everybody high blood pressure to their house.
Boy, and that's
So-
the truth. And that vein is going to bust at some point.
It is.
Jay, the Drain Guy says, good afternoon, Roger. I'm Jay, that Drain Guru from Toronto. There you go, brother. How you doing? Actually, just watching your March the 30th episode and then realized, you know what? I think you're actually live right now. Jay, man, thank you, brother. Thank you for watching the old one. Thank you for watching the new one. I love that. And I was up in Toronto a couple of weeks ago. They've got CMPX, the Canadian Mechanical Plumbing Expo. It was so good. It's such a great place to be. Now, I go to the trade shows like WET, AHR, CMPX now, KBIZ, the Kitchen and Bath Industry Show. Are you getting out and going around to shows like that and seeing all the new stuff?
Starting to now. I get a lot of it through osmosis from other people.
Yeah.
And just like from you, I've heard things, and from online, I see what's new coming out at the show. We've even started. We do light, ultraviolet light cured pipelining now that we've advanced from some of the things we saw from the shows.
Yep.
So I'm starting to go more this year. I already got approval after I was talking to you not long ago that I've got approval for next year's WET show.
I love it.
That I'll be there. But I think the trade shows are great. I used to do them when I had my company. Just haven't had a chance to do them that much since I joined Milestone because we've been so busy.
Mm-hmm. They certainly don't. Look, hey guys, here's the deal. Pressures are going up. It's our job to resolve that problem first. Because if it's messing with a TMP valve, what's it doing to the toilet, the ice maker, the dishwasher, the washing machine, everything else that they don't see? Shield Papa says, I'm just about to write my second period provincial test in Alberta. Good for you. Isaiah says, Garawana, I know the PHCC does Massachusetts journeyman review courses. If you study, you'll be good. 248 CMR, not sure about that. Here's the deal. Guys, PHCC is nationwide. You can contact the PHCC National or PHCC in your area. CEF, Construction Education Foundation, I think started here in Dallas. I think there's other locations. ABC, the Association of Building Contractors. There's a lot of training that you can get out there. Are they teaching you what you need to learn? That's the big deal. Heard you just talk about press and PEX. I'm still sweating copper these days. We'll use PEX A, but I do prefer solder to O-rings. Look, I did a video the other day about solder and brazing. So if you mean I just talk about it, no. If you mean you just heard me, okay, I get that. Do you allow your plumbers to solder?
Yes, we do.
I've literally had people get in and say, the company we work for will not let us solder.
I see, we actually had talked about that, about seeing if maybe even insurance breaks might be available if we did away with torches and just went to press fit or I'll cramp. That hasn't been available yet to our insurance because we have, we're a large
Massive
company.
amounts of
massive
insurance.
amounts of insurance. They won't allow it yet. I have fewer and fewer plumbers soldering these days. Still the older guys, some of them want to. Some of the young guys that are real kind of old school. But the majority of plumbers nowadays, I have so many of them investing in press fit tools. I won't furnish them on the truck.
Right.
But I'll furnish the fittings. We'll buy the fittings.
I get that.
But press fit's becoming huge. And of course, PEX is replacing copper. I'm sure in 10 years, there's not going to be
harder
any
to find.
soldering,
Yeah.
hardly at all.
Yeah,
They're even going to sewer fittings that way now.
I know.
The push fit sewer fittings, drainage fittings.
I know. Thank you, Charlotte. I know. I saw it when it first came out. I'm like, wait, what?
One of these days, that's all we're going to do is push fit everything.
But then again, we won't really need a license. We just get first, second, and third graders to put the puzzles together.
There you go.
It's that good. Look, I love solder. I do. I'm old school. I admit it, and I think it's something I hate to hear. There's plumbing companies not allowing it at all, because I think that's part of the trade that people do need to learn. And it's a big, and it's, I was talking to Forge now. If I hired somebody today that was green and I wanted them to learn to be beneficial for me, I look at Forge now, their 7-week program. They're teaching to solder. They're like, look, it's what we teach. We don't teach PEX. We don't teach press. We tell them it's out there. They know about it, but we teach to solder. It's the way our school's built. I love it. PEX is easy to learn. ProPress is really easy to learn. It's knowing what you're doing and what size it needs to be and what fittings get it there and don't get it there and the right valve to use. So, yeah, I love the solder thing.
We're still teaching soldering and brazing.
Yeah, yeah.
If you live in a slab, I mean, if it's a slab foundation in Texas, it's
You
still
better know
required
how to
that you
do
know
it.
how to braze.
You bet. Flash in your pan says, hey, Roger, hi, Roger Wakefield, plumbing education and guest. So my guest today is David Butler. David, tell everybody who you are and what all you do.
Well, again, I'm a responsible master plumber for Milestone Home Services here in Dallas, Texas. We cover the Metroplex, very large company. We do nothing but residential home service. 1 and 2 family dwellings mostly, everything from a drippy faucet to tunneling under a house and repiping the entire home from top to bottom. So if it's residential, we do it. I'm very fortunate. I've got a lot of great people I work with. I've Milestone, and I am the senior plumbing manager there. But my primary job nowadays is making sure we do the plumbing correctly at Milestone and training people to do the plumbing correctly. And that's why I'm here talking with Roger about this now, because we're talking about training. And at Milestone, if you do come into our company, you're going to be trained as a plumber. And we train new plumbers that come in, and we also train green apprentices that come in. So it doesn't matter what level you come in at Milestone. We want to help you to learn everything you can about plumbing and be the best you can be.
And when he says they train new plumbers that come in, he doesn't mean if you're coming in new to plumbing. He means if you've been plumbing somewhere else, not at Milestone, they're going to put you through a training to make sure you understand the Milestone way. And that's what that's about. Flash in your pan. Look, great seeing you in here. Guys, another great YouTube channel to watch. Jump over to Flash in your pan. Check it out. Neat people in here. Garawana says, I'm trying my best, Isaiah. Hopefully I have better luck this time, as it will be a retake. Man, just make sure you study it, you get it, and you understand it. Jason Smith on the house says, hey, Roger, wanting to take my master's. Who gives the best prep class for the master's exam in Texas? Who would you say?
Johnny Curtin.
Yeah,
Hands down.
he wrote it. I mean,
I still send my plumbers there.
he wrote Johnny Curtin wrote the exam.
Yep.
Okay. Who better to teach it? I'm just, look, if I were taking the master exam today, that's where I'd go. And he doesn't even do it up here anymore, does he?
No, I think he just does it down in
Kerrville or Buda or somewhere down there.
north of Austin down there.
Yeah. There's no other place. If you want to take the master exam, take it with Johnny Curtin, period.
Yep.
You get it for sure. There you go. Can't afford not to. Jason Smith says, plumbing is the best trade in the world. I love my profession. Yeah, I don't think either one of us are going to agree with you. There's other good ones. And it's funny because I look at it this way. Plumbers protect the health of the nation, period. Electricians can't say that. HVAC technicians can't say that. If you go without heat and air and electricity for a month, you'll still be alive. You go without water for a month, you're not. We win. I'm just, hands down, we win. A great plumber doesn't necessarily mean a great trainer. And that is so good. So true. And we talked about that because when you were a plumber, when I was a plumber, I love teaching. I love teaching my apprentices. I would take an apprentice, and by the time he was a third-year apprentice, I'm letting him run jobs for me, letting him run areas for me. And a lot of the union people didn't like that. But it's like, you know what? Show me you can do it better because I ain't seen it. And they didn't like that. But you've got to, to be a great trainer, you've got to be able to educate people and let them fail all at the same time. And that's hard for a lot of people to do. It's tough. Anyway, Matt McDonough, what's up, brother? Says Mr. Miyagi of Plumbing. How are you? Sorry, missed you coming to Vegas. Been so busy. LinkedIn is acting funny, so wasn't able to get you my number. Well, go back to LinkedIn, get it to me. Matthew, I'm going to be in Vegas. I think I fly in the 13th or 14th. I'm there the 15th and 16th and come back, I don't know, 14th through the 18th, 15th through the 18th. I think it's 15th through the 18th. I think I'm supposed to be there the 16th and 17th. But I'm in training and speaking and stuff like that, so not sure I'll have a lot of time. But I promise you, I will find a way to go eat at El Segundo Sol, right across from Wynn's. Man, there's a Mexican restaurant over there that is phenomenal. Plush a lot. Thank you. Excited to be another woman in the trades.
All right.
I love that. Very good. Kel L, what's happening? Says, hey, Roger, going to be in Richardson May the 18th to the 25th. Are you going to be in town? Also, how far are you from Central Market? Well, there's more than one. I'm not sure if I'm in town the 18th through the 25th. Kel, reach out, connect with me on LinkedIn, and we can communicate through there. I may be because I'm out of town I think it's the 15th to the 18th and come back. So I'll be right around. If you're flying in town the 18th, maybe you'll run into me at the airport. Anything is possible. Joseph Shanky, thank you for putting the Q in there, brother. I love that. That helps. My name is Joe from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'll be up there next Thursday and Friday, I think. Friday and Saturday, something like that. I am retiring from law enforcement in November, 44 years old. I want to work as a plumber as a second career. Would it be better to go to Union Way or trade school to learn? I'll let you answer this one because I want you to think about that, and then I'll give you my thoughts.
Well, it's so different north and south in this country to me. The union is much more prominent up north, even on home service companies and all, which it's so, what is there? In kind of one hand, how many union home service companies there are here, I
tried to be one.
I know.
And it was impossible. It was
of course,
impossible.
Our large companies are union. It depends on what you're wanting to go into. At your age, I would say go into home service. Commercial can be very demanding work on new construction. So as far as go union or not, up north, I think you could go either way. Union up north, I know, is very strong with home residential service and very good. And they always have, unions always had great training.
You bet. And that's pretty much what I was going to say. In Milwaukee, there might be I don't remember, Minnesota's got one, Chicago's got one, a residential service side to the union and a very good training program. My thing is, look, if you've been in law enforcement, I'm assuming you're disciplined. I'm assuming that you understand SOPs, and you're going to get up, you're going to be on time, you're going to do what needs to be done. My thing is, what is your end game? Do you want to own your own company one day and say, look, by the time I'm 65, I could own my own plumbing company and have 10 plumbers working for me? What is your long-term goal? Look at that first, and then ask yourself, does going to the union help you get there faster, or does going open shop help you get there faster? David knew he wanted to be his own company owner right after he started. One of my best friends, Grant, same thing. Me, I was just looking for a job. I was just wanting to work. And then it was a company owner talking to me and let me realize this is not a really good place to work, to make me realize I just want to open my own company now because I wanted to give people something I didn't think they were getting.
And one other thing to that is nowadays, I don't know that I would have gone into business for myself had there been a company around like Milestone when we were younger.
Yeah.
There was no such thing as a company that took care of its employees the way companies do now. Right down learning from like Google and everyone else, how they take care of people.
Yeah, a lot of people don't at all.
And if you're a police officer, ex-police officer, you've got people skills. So, you can go in and talk to a customer and explain things to them and sell them what they need. And that would be an easy transition.
I would think so too.
Yeah.
So what he said is, if you want to move to Dallas, Milestone Electric is in Garland.
Absolutely. Come see me.
And they need HVAC techs, plumbers, and electricians.
I'd love to hire an ex-police officer.
Yeah,
44.
really. Absolutely. And they got a great training program, as you've heard so far. So, Peter, good luck. Or Joseph, good luck. Peter says, hey, Roger, I completed my apprenticeship last year, and my boss was insisting I should work for him for he is going to pay me. But my family refused, and now my boss has developed hatred for me. I should work for him for H, I don't know, is going to pay me, but my family refused. Peter, I don't understand the whole thing. Look, if you work for him, number one, nobody can insist you work for them. Not unless they're the union or the mob. I'm joking about the union. I hate that. Look, very few plumbers have left me that I hate. There have been some that have really done me wrong, cost me a lot of money. I feel sorry for them. It's a completely different thing. So I'm not sure your whole story, but man, maybe is it something you can reach out and talk to him and say, hey, I don't want us to be on bad terms. It's up to you. Jason says, Joseph Skanky, thank you for your service in law enforcement. Absolutely. I started saying, well, at least getting in plumbing, he won't get shot at as much, but that's not necessarily true
these days. Yeah,
man, in Dallas, you may want to be armed. You may want to wear your police uniform to go do a plumbing job just so they know. I like that. So Joseph, thank you. Gadawana says, Isaiah, I did do the Cape Cod Plumbing School for review course. Jason says, we need to get more plumbers to go to the board meetings. We need to be more involved in our plumbing board. And, I love it because one of the first plumbing town hall meetings that they did over at Milestone, Lisa came, Frank Denton came.
It was great.
Yeah, it really was. And I wish they'd do that a lot more often. I know they do it, but they're doing it all over the state. Man, I'd like to see them come to town a couple of times a year. And that way you get to communicate and say, hey, where are we on this? Where are we on this? Because there's some people in the plumbing industry and continuing education in that may not be putting out 100% truthful information all the time.
Yeah, it was great. And we had we did the one for the Dallas area, and there was over 120 people there.
Yeah.
And that means there's a lot of plumbers interested in it. Most of them were owners, but there was a few just plumbers that work for other people. Mm-hmm. So it was great.
It's a good thing.
And it's hard to get to Austin, I understand, because I'm going to try and do that myself. I've failed.
I love going to Austin for the board meetings, and you can watch them online.
Yeah,
which I've done before. But I've also gone down to the board meetings, and I got to tell you, I love it. I love being able to go down there, hear everything going on, what we're thinking about, what we're working on. I think more plumbers should do it. When I went, they had moved it over to one of the federal buildings so they could get more people in there. And it was great. There were probably 40, 50 people at the board meeting where normally there's a dozen. So I think it is getting better. But Jason, let me ask you this. Do you get involved? Do you go to the board meetings? Do you get out and do the things to be more involved in it? Because every time I've gone, there's a lot of the same people there. A lot of the same people each and every time. Garawana says, ProPress saves so much time. No breathing in fumes from gases and flux burning. That doesn't bother you. I mean, it's like snorting glue and primer. Who cares? I still solder a lot, though. If glycol system prefers solder. And see, we did the glycol systems. We welded them. I did a big remodel out at DFW Airport. Is there any classes? Yes. I've talked about Forge Now, which is a great place to get in, start a 7-week program to get you introduced to plumbing, electrical, HVAC, and facilities maintenance. There's Texas State Technical College. Oklahoma State College is supposed to be one of the best in the world for teaching HVAC and chillers and all that, boilers, how to work on them, repair them, install them, remove them, the whole 9 yards. There's a lot of places you can train. CEF, PHCC. ICAST Enterprises says small failures along the way are often the best educators. I think you're right. I think that we learn more from our mistakes. Let me ask you this. Me and you've talked. You said, look, I struggled with my company. I had problems here. Got into a best practice group and started learning. If you'd have started learning from the get-go, from your mistakes, or you didn't make mistakes, and you just ran a good company, would you be where you're at now? Or would you be like, look, this is good. Good's hard to leave. Good to Great by Jim Collins is a great book to read, y'all. I'm just telling you.
Yep. Probably not. I know we do have to make mistakes to learn. We learn better from our mistakes than anything else. We remember them, especially the more they cost us, right?
God, yeah.
And that's the thing. As a owner of a company, you have a lot of costs. As an employee of a company, sometimes it doesn't cost you as much, or it could cost you your job if it's a bad enough mistake. But you're right. We have to make mistakes. But with the training, the key is most of us doing the training have made those mistakes before.
Listen and learn from us.
And we're trying to show you how not to go there. And you're still going to have mistakes no matter what. But there's so many that can be avoided is the key with the proper training.
I got a call from a plumber one day, and man, as soon as I answered the phone, I knew, okay, something's wrong. And he's like, Roger, I need to talk to you. I said, okay.
You're like, what'd you do, right?
He said, no, didn't even ask. I'm just like, okay. I'm bracing myself for it. Give me a second. Let me breathe. I said, okay. He says, I'm out on this job and I'm locating a leak and fixing it out in the yard. I said, okay. Breaking a sewer line. Okay. So when I cut through the PVC, I cut the camera head off. I said, okay. And man, you could hear his voice just go into mourning. It's like, look, I'll pay for this. It's like, no, you won't. He said, yeah, I will. I said, no. I said, that's a lot of money. Are you ever going to do it again? He's like, oh God, no. I said, okay, then we learn from this. I said, so what should you have done? Well, after I located it and marked it, I should have completely pulled the camera out. Okay, then we're good. Are you sure you're not going to do this again? No. Okay. Never did. Okay. I paid for it. I got it fixed, had it returned, had it done. It's not a cheap repair.
No.
When you own sewer cameras, you own a repair bill. It's coming. But the good thing about it is we talked about it in meetings for at least a month. Hey guys, remember. Hey guys, remember. Hey guys, remember. And it wasn't, David messed up. Remember that. It was, look, we learned a lesson here. How do we do that now? How should we do it every time?
Yes.
And man, if we can learn from those lessons, I'm fine with them. I promise you, as a company owner, you're going to write $2,000 checks that you don't want to write. It is what it is. But if we can train plumbers by doing that, it's well worth it. So,
and that is such a common problem, believe it or not. I can't tell you how many times that's happened.
Oh no,
Milestone too.
It does. But when plumbers don't hear it enough, they don't remember it. If we don't tell them it happened to us, hey, it happened to somebody else, they're like, yeah, well, I'd never do that. And it gets dismissed immediately. When they do it, I mean, I tell you, before they cut PVC, they're looking around. Okay, what could be in here? Because they don't want that to happen again.
Absolutely.
And it's a cool deal.
And every mistake is a training opportunity.
Yeah, every single one. And they should be, we used to call them postmortems. We'd do a job and then we get the management team or somebody together and say, okay, what did we do right on this job, man? Let's make a list. Man, we did this, we did this. We found a way that we can order this here and get it quicker. And we did this and we did this. Okay, what did we do wrong? Man, everybody starts getting quiet because they don't want to mention it. Like, what did we do wrong? And, I've heard Gus talk about that, and he may have said it during the podcast. He's like, I sit in the meetings and say, hey, tell me what we're doing wrong. And people are like, well, we do everything great. But no, you can't say that. I didn't ask about that. I don't care what we do great. What do we do wrong? And, man, if you can get people to be honest like that, that's where you learn. Because the people are going to tell you the mistakes we're making. And to me, that is just, you're right. We learn from our mistakes. And it's big. Is there any classes? There's always classes. Literally, I mean, where do you want to go? saw that and had to jump back up to it. So yes, mistakes are huge. Mark says, how can I find more trade shows? You know what I do, Mark? Literally go in and do a Google search. Best trade shows, the United States, 2024, 2025. I actually took a picture of them yesterday. Man, February, I don't know if any of y'all are ever going to see me. February 2025 is AHR, WET, and KBIZ. And it's like, God, people, come on, can't you spread this out a little bit? And you've got Orlando, you've got Chicago, and you've got Vegas. So, I mean, I guess it's great to get to see the world. Man, I'd rather do it over like a 2 or 3 month period, though.
Exactly. It is. It's hard because I understand why they're doing it, probably because that way they get out their products early in the year. We can sell them for this year. But it's difficult. Used to, it seemed like they were a little more spread out than they are now.
Yeah, they used to be. I'll tell you what, this last year, I literally left Chicago and went to Indianapolis because the trade shows were the same week. It was like the 21st, 2nd, and 3rd. The other one was 24th, 5th, 6th, 7th. It's like, guys, and that's tough on them because then a lot of the vendors have to say, which show are we going to set up at? I'm like, guys, y'all need to get together and kind of talk about this. Mark or Isaiah says, I want to go to a trade show. Do what I just talked to Mark. Search the trade shows. WET is more plumbing, pumpers, sewer, pipelining, anything at all like that. AHR is more HVAC, air conditioning, heating, refrigeration, which is what AHR stands for. But they're wanting to get more into plumbing. I like Flow Expo. I spoke at it in March. PHCC West puts it on. And they do a great job. It's really a good show. And I mean, it is all plumbing and it's in one convention center and it's one day. It's a Saturday. You could literally fly out Friday night, go to that show all day Saturday, go to King's Fish House there in Orange County because their barbecue shrimp is amazing. And then come back late Saturday night or early Sunday morning. So there's so many shows out there that most of us don't know about. And these are just the big national shows. You can also go to the little shows. PHCC San Diego's got a show. It's up to you to go do what you want to do or what's going to benefit you the most. So start doing the research now and find out where you want to be. AHR, WET, and KBIZ are the 3 biggest ones in the nation. KBIZ is kitchen and bath industry, but it's also the IBS, the International Builders Show at the same time. So you're going to see a lot of different stuff there. And like I said, AHR is mainly HVAC, and then WET is what it is. I like WET because, number one, Indianapolis is a cool place. The hotels, the convention center, the restaurants, it's all real close. It's all right there. Pretty much, I check into the hotel and I walk everywhere. So it's kind of a neat thing. Vegas, it ain't happening that way. Orlando, it ain't. Chicago, it ain't. It's pretty spread out. March 2nd, PHCC trade show in Massachusetts. So that's probably PHCCMA. All the PHCCs, all the state PHCCs have their own shows, but it's a much smaller version. Imagine that 100 times the size. Now you're talking KBIZ, WET, or AHR, something like that, which I'm not saying anything bad about the PHCC in Massachusetts. Normally, these national shows are a whole lot bigger. Normally, and here Gary, here's how I'll explain it to you. At your trade show at PHCC Massachusetts, you've got a local rigid vendor. You've got a local Milwaukee vendor. You've got a lot of local supply houses there. When the shows that I go to, you've got the Milwaukee national team. You've got Rigid's national team. It's Rigid, the company. They're not a local vendor. Now, they've got to be set up. Anything they sell goes through the local vendor. So, it's still pretty cool. Yeah, if it was March 2nd, I believe that it passed too. I spoke at the one on March 9th, so that would have been a week later. So, yeah, probably so. Jason Smith says, no, I don't go to the board meetings. I would like to go, though, because I would like to be involved as much as I can. Jason, I love that. And it literally starts with just going and listening. You can get online, and that's one thing. But when you go, when you participate, when you have questions, you fill out the form. Do you have something to say? And I mean, I did. I know back when one of the people on the board let their plumbing license expire because they thought, well, Patty said it's going away, so it's going away. And I stood up, I'm like, wait, why are there no disciplinary actions? It says you've got to have a license to be on the board, but the guy's sitting here without a license. Why? What are y'all doing? Are y'all not enforcing? And they're like, well, we don't get to reply to your comments. And I'm like, well, that's BS too. If y'all aren't going to do your job, don't get on me for not doing my job. Because if I do something wrong, you're going to find me. You're going to take away my license. You're going to do things, but you're not doing it to your own board members. I got a problem with that. Do what is right or don't do anything. And I'll get off my soapbox.
Absolutely. That's what you got to do.
I get it. My bad. You're right. I was thinking May. Oh God, I don't know. Is it in May? And it may be. There we go. Patrick Bueller. I know you've never heard that. Question. Is there any education differences between union and open shop? Yes. If I chose to go open shop, would I be missing out? Like the experience on larger projects that I might not get in open shop. Okay, number one, I love this. People tell me all the time, you hate unions. No, I don't. I think Local 100 was not good for my small plumbing company, which was a residential service company through a union. It had never been done in Texas. I was the guinea pig, the first guy. And I don't think that the business manager supported me. I don't think that things got done the way they could have been done. When I called the national office is like, hey, we don't control all the locals. I said, well, then you're crazy. If you can't control your union nationwide, you're just collecting money from people. That's all you're doing. They don't like my comments sometimes. I get it. But here's the thing. If you want to be a good commercial plumber and be a plumber for a long time, the union's good for you. You're going to make good money. You're going to have good insurance. You're going to have some benefits. You're going to have education available to you. So there's a lot of good things about that. If you go open shop, you can still do commercial work if you go open shop for one of the larger contractors. But to me, if you ever want to work for yourself, go to work for a Milestone, go to work for a Rescue Air, go to work for a company where you're going to come in, you're going to learn residential service work, plumbing, electrical, HVAC, roofing, anything at all like that. You're going to have better opportunity in the future. The education through the union is set up to teach you commercial plumbing and to do a very good job about it. Any comment on that?
No, I agree with you there. That's the difference. What kind of plumbing are you wanting to do? If you're going into residential service, then an open shop is going to teach you better than union. More. You're not going to learn what you need to know in union to do to do residential service. But if you want to do commercial, I grew up in a commercial open shop. And
I started out in a commercial open shop.
And I did high-rise schools, country clubs, churches, you name it. And I learned very well because I had some really good teachers that I worked for. I didn't have any formal training classes. It was all apprentice training, but they were great. Whereas in the union, I know it is formal training classes that you have to go to at the union. So either way, it depends on, know what kind of plumbing you're going into. Know what that company does when you apply for it. Do you want to do residential service? Do you hate talking to people? Then you're not going to work really well with residential service. Commercial is great for those kind of guys. If you love talking to people and you're a people person, then residential service and service plumbing is where it's at because you get that interaction. So that's kind of what you got to figure out, and that's how it determines what's the best training that you get.
Because you got to know where you want to end up. What is your end goal? And this is something that even in the apprentice training program, I'd ask, because I used to have first-year students. So I'd have the biggest class, and I'd always ask them, where do you want to be a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? And you need to know that before you get in. Do you want to open your own company one day? Or you want a great job for a long time?
And
they're out there.
If it's a good contractor you're working for, they're not going to be opposed to you at some point telling them, I want to open my own company someday. I encourage you. If that's what you want, then by all means, we'll help you get there. There are those companies out there that it's like, oh, well, you want to be your own company someday. I don't even want to hire you.
Or worse than that, you've worked for them for a while. You're like, hey, I'm going to go get my master's license. They're like, okay. As soon as you get it, they fire you. Well, we don't want you to be competition.
I know. And I encourage all of our plumbers to get masters. It's
You
a
bet.
huge thing to walk into someone's house and say, I'm a
mindset.
master plumber.
Yeah, it's a mindset.
And it helps also that customer have confidence in you.
I love it. Austin Clark says, just got a better job at another company. Just passed my first year and they are giving me a truck. I'm so excited but nervous. I won't be able to perform. I didn't tell them I can do things I don't know. Yeah, number one, Austin, I'd ask where you're located. What state are you in? In Texas, you can't do that. Not legally.
Right.
Okay. There are companies in Texas that'll put you in truck after a year and say, go plumb. I know in a lot of states across the United States, you can't do that. But I also know companies in each and every one of those states that once they get an apprentice up around the first year and he can do stuff, they'll say, look, we're going to send you out and let you run that work and do this and do this and do this. And David and I have been talking about it. We think there are people that could handle that. I think that there's also certain things we used to, when I brought in an apprentice, if it was a good apprentice, I would teach them slab leak detection. Then when somebody calls, they say, hey, I got a high water bill. I think I got a leak. I can send this person out. They can do slab leak detection, even location, without having a license. They're not opening up a valve. They're not getting in a P-trap. They're not opening up a clean out. They're literally walking around with a piece of equipment, testing things, listening, doing different things like that. Now, if it did get to the point that we needed to induce air in the system, then we got to say, okay, do we want to send somebody else out there? How do we want to handle this? Depending on where you're located, we were talking about California earlier. John Okoyan out at Rooter Hero. Once he says you're a plumber, you're a plumber. It's his license. California set up completely different. In Texas, every person on the job is either licensed or registered. You've got to be registered as an apprentice or licensed as a plumber, or I guess a tradesman is also a registration, or it's a limited license. Know what you're getting into. Don't put yourself in a situation where you're going to get in trouble.
Right, because you're responsible too. Just because the owner of the company puts you in the truck doesn't make you not responsible for the situation.
Right. You're still the one saying, hey, I'll go out there and fix this.
Yeah, you need to know what you should and shouldn't do. And realistically, in my opinion, if a company's asking you to go do things like that, I would go to work for another company. That's just the way I feel about it. We don't put anyone in a truck that's not licensed to be in a truck. And there are other options there too. There's drain cleaners licenses. There's residential utilities installers.
That you can get in a year.
Yeah, and you can get in, drain cleaner restricted, you can get the day you become an apprentice.
Yeah.
Residential utilities installers at 1 year, and you can go out and put in yard services and sewer repairs.
Sewer and water.
All kinds.
You bet.
So it's there's options to getting you fast-tracked in a truck and making more income.
And it doesn't have to be done illegally where you're just in your own truck running calls.
Absolutely.
Patrick Bueller says, I get that all the time. I bet you do, brother. Carlos Arias says, I've wondered why plumbing license is only good for a city. In Texas, it's not. Texas used to be. Did you ever have to have a city license?
Ever since I've been in the state. I'm not, you may be older than I thought you were, but no.
No, but I knew about it.
No, it's always been state license since I've been here, and that's statewide.
Yeah. In Texas, once you get your state license, you're good everywhere. But what you do need to be aware of is each city has addendums to their code that they install by, and you better know those addendums.
That's the biggest challenge.
Carlos Arias says, I've wondered why plumbing license is only good for a city. Now the rest of it. Why is it not for nationwide? I would love to see a nationwide license. I think they should be nationwide MEP, mechanical and electrical and plumbing. If you can do those and pass a national certification, that way when we've got floods in Houston and we need plumbers, any plumbers in Wyoming not working that want to go down there. I mean, when we had our freeze 2 years ago, I had plumbers from Virginia come in. Said, man, we're bringing a truck of fittings. We want to go to work. I'm like, y'all can have it. We did good. Patrick Bueller. One more. Let me finish this. Why does one have to stay with the same company to become a master plumber? You don't. No. I'm not a plumber. A plumber told me this. Yeah, Carlos, it depends on where you're at. In Texas, you don't. Anybody can become a master plumber. You get into plumbing, you put in 4 years to get your journeyman, then another 1 to 4 to get your master's, depending on if you went through a DOL training program or not. Patrick says, I get the Bueller thing all the time, nurses, teachers, etc. I'm never safe. My end goal is to open my own business that deals with residential stuff. Thank you both for your guidance. I would find a great company to go to work for. Milestone, Rescue Air, where you're going to come in and you're going to learn the right way to do things. You're going to learn about communication, sales, installation, training. You're going to learn everything, and it's going to make you a better person. And to me, that's a no-brainer. Garawana says, a little pipe dope never ruined a sandwich. Yeah, primer and glue didn't either. Thank you for the info. I was told that in New York City. New York City is a little different. The master, the owner of the company, I think, has to have a master. The company's got to be ran by a master, but I don't think the technicians under them have to have a license. I think it's a lot like California. Guys, we got through all the questions. I'm going to get off the comments now. David, if somebody wanted to go to work for Milestone, what do they do?
Milestone.com. Go to milestone.com. You can fill out an
application. Is it milestone.com or callmilestone.com?
Oh, dear. You're going to catch me. I don't ever go on that website.
Callmilestone.com.
Yes, absolutely. Glad I had Roger here. So callmilestone.com.
Gus, I got to talk to you. Did you hear that?
Callmilestone.com. Go online. You can usually always find the job application area there. Talk to our recruiting department. They will get you signed up. If everything goes through on the written application and you're all good there, then you come in for an interview, and it might be likely to see me when you come in. So that's as simple as it gets. There are, we do drug test and background check. We go into people's homes, so it's a little different than commercial plumbing and some of the others. But other than that, it's that simple. And see if you can get set up for a appointment. We'd love to talk to you.
There you go. Special thanks to iCast Enterprises today for being in here. Squirt, I sure do appreciate you being in and helping take care of things. Colton Casada, always for coming in, taking care of everything that you do, getting it all set up and everything going and running the way that we do things. So, guys, I appreciate each and every one of y'all for being here. Mr. David Butler, thank you. This has been good.
I had a great time.
Fun, been very educational. So I love what we get to do. And to everybody here, find out why that won't. There we go. Everybody here, thank y'all for being here. Those of you that are new, welcome. I hope you come back. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, ring the bell. That way you'll know. And those of y'all that keep coming back, man, I love it. Just keep on coming back. So y'all have a great day. Have an amazing weekend. Protect your eyes on Monday during the solar eclipse, during the total solar eclipse. Actually, it's pretty cool. We're looking forward to it. I'm Roger Wakefield, Lead AP, helping you make more money in the trades.